Alright guys, it's time for another obligatory channel update. Woo! I got my index card here with some notes. It's a nice warm day in January, which is great. We've been getting just hit with snow constantly this month. But yeah, so I wanted to do a little update here. Nice little audio spike there. Bet you guys love that. I'm using the fancy mic today. But anyway, so I got some points and some things I want to cover. Got my index card. I want to try and keep this as short as possible, but who knows? It'll probably be like 15 minutes long. Anyway, so it's January. Last year, I just finished college, and so I received my bachelor's in fine arts in media arts and animation. So yeah, I got that nice. I haven't received it yet, but I'm waiting on the diploma, and it's all done. So I got some nice student loan debt I got to work on, which is great. That's going to be starting here in a little bit. So this year is all about me figuring out where my career takes me, and yeah, so a lot of things are going to be changing. As far as those changes go, you've definitely already seen them probably. But when I get my diploma, I'm going to be uploading a video of a school tour. And this was kind of inspired at the last minute. Back in September, my school shut down. It was announced about 2 years prior. It's a really big, long story. But the long story short is that the parent company was in massive debt, about $1.5 billion. And so by shutting down 15 different Art Institute branches, they could basically save a lot of money. And so they announced it like 2 years ago, and so we all saw it coming. But what sucked is that they sold the Art Institute to a different company, and within about a few weeks, they said, we're going to shut down a month early. So my school was basically shut down 3 months premature than what it was supposed to, and so that kind of threw a wrench into everything. But I managed to make it through, so it's all good. But in that process, all of a sudden, people started showing up, and things were being torn apart, and like this and that. And so I thought it'd be interesting to take a video camera and go throughout the school and show you basically what it looked like. And so I filmed that back in September last year, and you guys are gonna see that once I get my the diploma. I'll have to then start cutting that together and get it out. But on to the next point. What is with all the streaming? Yeah, so back in November, I was officially accepted onto the Time Splitters Rewind team, and that is a nonprofit voluntary fan project that has been going for a long time. And if you follow my Halo content, you'll definitely know that I'm a Time Splitters fan, having done, I think, 13 maps or 14 maps from the original series. And so, I played that series when I was younger, and it was a big deal to me. It was actually Time Splitters and Halo were the two big things that really inspired me to go into visual effects. And so I owe it all to those two game franchises. Basically, if you don't know, Time Splitters Rewind is a fan-based remake of the original game, and while it is like 3 games basically in one, it's pretty much impossible to do all that in one package. And so we're working towards a smaller release of some campaign stuff, some multiplayer stuff. But there's the unofficial Time Splitters Rewind page that you can follow on Facebook and all that. And so yeah, I make guns, I do animation, I do gun rigging for like the first person animation stuff. But yeah, since I've been on the team since November, and it's been going pretty well. And yeah, so I've been streaming. So that's what that is about. So what else is going on? My next point, I also have been working on some Destiny videos. I know that most of my content is Halo related, but I was shocked to find out the other day that my most viewed video was the compilation I did of Lord Shaxx. from Destiny 1, which was several years ago. Second place in views was my Halo 5 shield effects, or shield sound effects, which is, that wasn't, it's a surprise to me because I keep on getting comments on it, so I keep like going back to that video and seeing the view count. But yeah, so I have been working on a Vex, mostly Vex sounds compilation from Destiny 2, as well as other sound effects I found along the way. I mean, if you haven't figured it out yet, based on my alias or my pseudonym or gamer tag, my name is inspired off of the Vex from Destiny. And still to this day, after these 3 or 4 years, I'm still holding out. I'm still holding hope that they will make a Vex boss called the Aegis Mind. They have not done it yet, but I know they will if they go through with the 10-year contract. And I even mentioned that to some of the guys when I actually went to Bungie. So who knows? But anyway, so yeah, you can expect to see that at some point. I've been recording lots of sounds, for that. It's been a lot of fun. I really love just sound effects in general, and I just think it's really neat. I'm also working on a compilation of the failsafe dialogue from Destiny, because she's a funny character. That's being in the works. I'm doing what else am I working on? I'm doing a sound effects or a dialogue compilation of all the intro and outro dialogue for the strikes in Destiny 2. I've been slowly working on that over time because, you can't choose the strikes that you play. You just select the playlist and then boom, and you get what you get. So I've been working on that for at least a month or two, trying to get all those dialogue samples. And then I've also been working on a supercut for Cade, which is pretty much arguably the funniest character in Destiny, voiced by Nathan Fillion. And so I thought it'd be fun to do a supercut of all of his stuff. So obviously that is a huge amount of work, and because you think about everything, like just standing by him in the tower. I realized the other day that when you stand by him as a Titan, he'll have some lines for Titans, and he'll have some lines for Hunters. And then there's certain quest-related things and story-related things. And in fact, when I was at Bungie, and I actually hung out with Cosmo for a little bit, and he's one of the community managers. He told me at one point that in the last mission, when you go to the Vex, teleporter that they have, and the Vanguard's about to die, if you wait around before going through the teleporter, Cade has some funny lines there. So I thought that was great, and I couldn't wait to eventually listen to what he says, and it is pretty funny. It's hilarious, but it's little things like that. There's so much of stuff that he says in the game, and I want to make sure that I capture all of it. And so that video is probably a long ways away. On to the bigger project that I've been working on, Olive's Revenge. Last year I started working on the prequel film, and for I started it about 6-7 months ago, but really late September through to December was the big grind, where I basically almost completed Act 1. I had this computer breakdown that happened, and that was not easy to deal with, because I was in the final week of basically getting Act 1 put together, and I would have had it all completely done, but that breakdown causing me 5 days without my computer, that basically meant that some shots were not going to be done, and this and that, and the audio mix was lacking. There are sound effects and all the dialogue is there, but the overall mix and the sound effects are just not, it's not all there, I guess, you can say. But that was just a ruthless grind. The whole reason I was pushing for the end of December was because that's when me and all my buddies get together, and I thought it'd be neat to have a rough cut, or a near final cut, of Act 1. And Act 1 is about 28 minutes long. There was one scene that I couldn't get in because one of my voice actors, she couldn't get her lines back to me in time. She left for vacation at the beginning of December, so it was kind of a bummer. But yeah, Act 1 is almost 30 minutes long, and that was a lot to make. It was a lot to write. It was a 25-page script. coordinating voice actors, having to go out to like other places. The room that I'm recording in right now, we did the general, we did Agent Green, which is the main guy, and then I had to go out for I think 3 other voice actors, and I'm just and that was just challenging because you had to work around all these different schedules, and I had some recording sessions at 8 in the morning on a Saturday, and one of them was at like 11 at night on like a Tuesday. You know, just making all this come together has been it's been a lot of work. It's been very tiring. So I completed Act 1 pretty much mostly. There's like 3 or 4, I think 6 or 7 blue screen shots that still have blue screen, and the CG for that needs to be done. And then I probably another 30 shots-ish that I don't like the way that things are framed, but I had no choice. For instance, I think we showed the rough cut on a Friday night. It was December 29th. And 2 days before that, or no, 3 days before that, the Wednesday I woke up, scene 4 was not even like completely done. Like I had woken up. It was my only, I think one of my only days off. I think because I had Friday off and then Wednesday. But Wednesday I woke up, and in that day, basically, scene 4 did not exist. I had like maybe 2 minutes of footage that I had recorded about a month ago, but there was another 8 minutes that I had then set up in Halo. I had recorded it all, edited it all, and did all the audio, did all the sound, all in that same day, and it was awful. And so it was crazy. And basically what I'm getting at is I'm not canceling this thing, but I'm at a point in life right now where it needs to take a back seat. Also because during the middle of December and mostly towards the end, I started to go through some really tough life-related stuff. For want to try and keep this clean. But I started to go through a really rough life, challenge. I'm gonna keep it at that, and it's kind of put a thorn in my creative side for this Olive's Revenge thing. And so January, I literally have not done anything on the project at all. I mean, I've conceived ideas in my head, but that's it. I haven't worked on the script. I haven't worked on filming or forge sets, like whatever. And so I've been taking a break. And so the whole summer 2018 thing from the teaser, I don't think I'm going to make it. It could probably be fall or maybe even the winter time, because I'm basically making a feature film. It's a crap ton of work. I actually did figure out, I mean, some of these things I figure out so far ahead of time. Like, I've already known like what happens in each scene. It's a 12-scene structure, 3 acts. Act 1 is 1 through 4, then 5 through 9, and then 10 through 12 for Act 3. But I mean, I know what happens in every scene, but it's getting down into the actual, script and figuring out everything and getting all that stuff put together, and then looking at your forge sets and going from there. And so I just haven't done any of that. But it's funny is I already actually know I figured out about a month ago the song or the track that I wanted to use for the official trailer, which would probably come out when the final visual pass is done, and all I'm doing is sound effects mixing. If you're curious and you want to hear what track it is, you can look up Dark Matter instrumental by a group called Less Friction. They do a lot of the stuff that you hear in like epic trailers and like cinematics and all that basically, you've heard their music. The composer actually was, or one of the 2 composers, he was in a group called Less Friction, or not Less Friction, I just said that. He was in a group called ES Posthumous from like 2000 to 2010. I mean, you've heard his stuff, but you just never knew his name. But anyway, Dark Matter, the instrumental version, it's a really neat track. So I'm going to be using that for the trailer, and I've already got shots in my head, and it's going to be sick. But for now, Olive's Revenge needs to take a back seat. It's I'm just a little burned out on it, to be honest. So I'm going to be taking a break from that probably through to the next month. And depending on where my career leads me, then I'll be getting a full-time job. I actually have a potential job lead that I'm going to be figuring out if that's going to be happening towards the middle of February, actually. So depending on what happens, obviously I won't be able to spend as much time on these things. And that leads me to my last point, or my last thing that I wanted to talk about. So I've been doing a lot of these sound effects showcases for a long time now, from various games and all this and that. And something I've been wanting to do for a long time is record my own sound effects. And so over the next few months, I've been setting money aside for a little while now, but I'm going to be getting a shotgun mic, and I'm going to be getting the necessary equipment so that I can record my own sound effects for you guys. However, being that I am a college student in debt, and that I'm going to be like actually having to pay bills and this and that, unfortunately, these are not necessarily going to be free. What's going to happen, my plan right now, is that I want to do these sound effects packs where I'm basically focusing on specific things. Like, my first idea is like doors, and this ranges from like cabinet doors to sliding doors to car trunk hatches, like all kinds of doors, like everything that is on a hinge kind of thing. And the idea is that I would record and assemble these packs, and each one would have like 100 and some sounds, and it'd be like at some ridiculously cheap price. But that is a way that I would want to generate revenue rather than creating a Patreon, because I know that every YouTuber out there is doing Patreon, and this isn't necessarily something I want to do just for money, but it's a combination of things. A, I want to record my own sound effects, but B, the reality is I have bills to pay, and I have invested a handful, at least several $100s in content for my channel, which has given me nothing in return. And I'm not I'm not complaining, but that's just the reality. And so, I mean, just like the tiniest things, like the Voices of War rec pack for Halo 5 that I did, that was like $10, which isn't that much, but it's a lot of tiny things like that adds up. For Olive's Revenge, I had to invest in soundproofing. For this prequel for voice acting, I had to invest in soundproofing foam. I had to get this mic that I'm using. I had to get an actual capture card. And, just lots of little things. And so I wanted to create a way for you guys to support me if you want to, but also get something in return. So if you are a content creator, this is a way for you to support me, but also get something back. And so in these videos for these sound effects showcases, what I plan on doing is having like 10 samples, or some small amount, maybe 10%, 5% of what is in the sound pack. So you can hear what the quality is like. You can hear what kinds of sounds you would get. And then, if you don't want to buy the sound pack, that's by all means, But here you go. There's at least 5 to 10 free sound effects. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd imagine that probably the rates would be somewhere around, I have no idea. Honestly, I've been thinking about this for a long time, but I mean, it'd probably be, you say 100 sounds for like $2.99 or something. I mean, it would be easily less than $5. I wouldn't go over that. And when you break it down per sound, that is ridiculously cheap when you compare it to these other sound packs you can get. Like one that comes to mind is Motion Pulse from Video Copilot, which I did in fact buy at one point. But yeah, those are my main points, guys. A lot is changing this year. I'm going to be getting a job, going to be like moving out, actually, figuring out where my life is going to go. And so these are just the things that's happening. I'm going to continue to work on Rewind. Olive's Revenge is taking a back seat. And yeah, that is about it. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments. But I just wanted to do a little update so you guys know what's going on and know what to expect as time goes on. I think that about covers it. And, oh wow, look at that, 20 minutes. Yeah, a little longer than what I expected. Anyway, that's it, guys. Unsubscribe for less content. You know the drill. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. And yeah, I guess that's it. Have a good night. Have a good day.